So there are some exciting new game leaks appearing online ahead of the June season in 2024, the would have been E3 timeframe. Of course, we know that that is no longer an event that takes place. It's canceled for the foreseeable future, but we do have all of the individual companies, for the most part, all being confirmed to hold their own big game presentations over the course of this time. Of course, we have Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, more or less just like a Game Awards type presentation, but from a lot of different third-party studios, and Microsoft and Sony may show up with some minor stuff there. We don't really see Nintendo participate in those too much, but from a direct perspective, I should say, but we do see some games that are revealed to be headed to Nintendo's consoles, and I believe we will indeed see that again this year, and probably see a lot of titles that will maybe be slated for Switch 2, but just won't have the Switch 2 logo at the end of it because Nintendo has yet to officially reveal the console, other than them committing to reveal it this year, or in fiscal year 2024 rather, which ends March 2025. But we also know that Microsoft will be holding their big presentation in the month of June, and I believe we're about to hear one from Sony. Whether or not that happens this week is kind of some rumor mill and debate online. We may or may not hear about a Sony event this week, and if we don't, they'll likely hold one in June to update their players on what's coming for the rest of 2024. And of course, we did have that exciting tweet that went out from Nintendo, not only talking about their plans to reveal their next-gen console, but also giving us one of the longest heads up around the fact that they have committed to putting on a Nintendo Direct presentation in the month of June, and I'm very much hoping that it is earlier in the month as opposed to later, but we'll wait and see for all of that. But there are some new game leak conversations appearing online, some of which I do believe will be directly revealed at the Direct presentation. Other ones could be tied to some projects that are further down the line, but there is a lot to unpack in this video. So before we get on the same page with everything, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to first kick it off with a host of leaks from Madori, because she has been very active and vocal as of recently. It's kind of funny seeing her go from almost a stance of maybe not leaking anything anymore to now just dropping code names left and right of unannounced projects, literally saying like first party Nintendo type stuff, which we historically did not see her do. She had a lot of Sega and Atlas leaks, but now we're learning about first party Nintendo leaks from her. And so far, you have to keep in mind the reputation of Madori is tier 1 top level leaker, like literally up there with Pioro. But one thing about Pioro is that individual does not reveal anything until it is just about to happen, normally within a week or two or less. Sometimes there have been ones that have been out longer than that, but Pioro reveals stuff like right before it's about to become official and live. Madori is very much in the mindset of, I'm going to drop a code name or I'm going to reveal something, and then you will see about it in the somewhat near future. Most recently with getting something right tied to the Bleach series, as they did say that a title related to the Bleach series would be released on Nintendo Switch hardware. That was on May 26th, and then we just got the confirmation that Bleach Brave Souls will be coming to many platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. So some quick turnaround there. But the first Madori related leak that does specifically claim to be at the upcoming Nintendo Direct presentation is the following. Madori, Dragon Quest III HD 2D to be at June Direct, expected 2024, and believes it is now Dragon Quest 1 through 3. Renowned video game leaker Madori has tweeted today to say that she has heard that Dragon Quest III HD 2D will be featured during the next Nintendo Direct presentation, which is scheduled for June. The game is expected to be released later this year, or at least by the end of the fiscal year. That's not all, as Madori believes it is now a collection of Dragon Quest games and includes Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest 2, and Dragon Quest 3. This was also speculated by Dragon Quest fans today due to the lack of a title in the new teaser trailer, along with the general lack of news and video updates for the 2D HD remake since announcement. Now, this is cool info. I am not a Dragon Quest fan myself, or I should just say I haven't given the series a fair chance, but 2D HD games are absolutely hitting right now. There is a huge fan base for them. We know that Square Enix is doing really a multi-console approach, as we've talked about in recent videos. So anything that Square Enix nowadays and going forward, even on their smaller or bigger titles, you should start to see on every platform and expect that. So this is right up that alley, and it sounds like we're going to hear about it in June specifically and at the Nintendo Direct. So this could be a big one for Nintendo, and I'll be excited to learn more information on it. Now, the next one is a little bit more exciting for me before we get to the big stuff, which is GameCube 3DS level remakes, or ports rather, whichever they end up being, but those are a little bit more exciting than anything else to me. But you also have this next tweet from Madori, which reads, an Apple Arcade title will be announced for multiple platforms soon. Please wait for more information soon. Then somebody asks, when do you expect we'll hear the news officially? And Madori says in June. Now, there are a number of different games that are Apple Arcade exclusives, but due to Madori's close working relationship with Sega and Atlas Leaks, I am willing to bet that this is Sonic Dream Team. That is a game that as soon as I saw the reveal trailer for this, I absolutely wanted it on console. I am just that level of a Sonic fan that whether it's 2D or 3D Sonic games, I want to pick them up and give them a chance for the most part. And this one actually looked visually pretty impressive and really just a fun, simple 3D Sonic game that I haven't picked it up on Apple Arcade. I haven't really messed with Apple Arcade at all, but I will say that just from the brief snippet of the trailer that I saw, it was one that I was like, why is this an exclusive to Apple Arcade? It should definitely be coming to console. And it was likely just that timed exclusive deal where Apple paid Sega a big chunk of money just to have this as a timed thing that they could promote as an Apple Arcade exclusive to get people on the platform, but they're not necessarily sticking to a long-term exclusivity deal, as this was out December 5th of 2023, and we should hopefully see this potentially even shadow drop over the summer as available on other platforms. I could definitely see it being that type of reveal, or at the very least we will get some kind of concrete date that it will launch on other platforms, including Nintendo Switch. I am 99% sure we will see this game make it over to the Switch because the Sonic fan base is strong and Sega knows that on Nintendo's hardware, of course. And listen, for me, another 3D Sonic game playable on the Switch is just a simple win that I am very pumped to see ultimately happen. Of course, it might not be Sonic Dream Team, but that's the one that pops into mind, especially with Madori's history with revealing Sega games and things. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any other guesses besides Sonic Dream Team, and if you'd be excited to check that out on a Nintendo platform if it's available. Now, the other leaks may or may not be tied to the upcoming June Nintendo Direct, but I do think they're notable because there are some claims that a GameCube and 3DS game will be coming to Nintendo Switch, specifically the original Switch that we are playing today, even though we very well may have the Switch 2 in our hands at this point in time. And this would line up with what we see Nintendo do even after they release a new platform. They kind of have a few games that still come out for their older platforms, like the 3DS getting Metroid Samus Returns and a few other games after the Switch was already out. And I do think that with the 141 million plus install base, and no doubt it'll get over 150 this fiscal year, that Nintendo is going to want to continue to support that huge fan base, that it's going to take time to get all of those people to upgrade to their new next-gen hardware if they can even come as close to that success number as they did. So obviously Nintendo's still going to drop some content for their old console, but I really do not think we're going to see the kind of major 3D Mario games also get support for the old console. Nintendo's very clear about putting their games on the next generation hardware much sooner than any other companies will say do it nowadays in the industry, and I do think we will continue to see that. But this rumor is very interesting, and it does come from none other than PH Brazil, who, to be fair, was the first one who did accurately report on the internal delay of the Nintendo Switch that all the other media outlets like Bloomberg's, VGC's, Eurogamers of the world all started to pick up on. But he was also the one saying that there would be an April Nintendo Direct presentation. We know that did not happen. He just owned it and said essentially that it was probably dated information at the time that he had it. But take this one with a grain of salt. We're not talking Madori level leaker here, but he does seem to have some legit connections and legit stories over the course of time. So you can see the following article, which outlines the following over on My Nintendo News, which reads, rumor Nintendo has 2 big releases to launch on current Switch after March 2025. A new rumor is currently doing the rounds online from PH Brazil, who is the first to note that the Switch 2, which was originally planned for release at the end of 2024, had slipped to early next year. He's back, and this time he says that Nintendo has 2 re-releases in the works, which are due out after March 2025 for the current Nintendo Switch system. He says that one of these classic re-releases was originally on the Nintendo GameCube, and the second one is a classic Nintendo 3DS title. He also said that these probably won't be shown during the Nintendo Direct presentation, which is confirmed for next month. Carrying on from this, he speculates that Nintendo intends to fully support the original Switch despite the fact that its successor will be available. This is because of the huge install base of the Nintendo Switch family of systems. Nintendo has plans for the transition period between the two systems, much like Sony's PlayStation 4 console is still being supported despite its successor, the PlayStation 5, launching in November 2020. So again, I don't necessarily agree that Nintendo is going to go PlayStation level of support with their next-gen console being out, and then they're still going to turn around and port a bunch of stuff to the original Switch. Like, we're going to get some select projects that will make it over to the Switch, but the new big stuff is going to be exclusive on the new platform, in my personal opinion. opinion. I just think Nintendo is going to do that. I think they're going to push a lot of us to upgrade sooner rather than later. In terms of what these games might be, if they are indeed real projects, that is anyone's guess, but there are some exciting prospects out there. And of course, when you stop and first think about a GameCube game, well, you could of course just reference the long rumored Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. And is there a world where we see maybe that Zelda game that has been leaked online or rumored online that it has Zelda as a playable character for 2024, and then we actually do get Wind Waker and Twilight Princess or one or the other ported over in 2025 still for the Nintendo Switch, and that's what Nintendo's been saving them for, supposedly these finished games, this entire time. Well, that is a possibility, but when you talk about GameCube, you could also be talking about the long rumored F-Zero GX finally getting it over. It's not clear on whether or not that F-Zero GX rumor really ended up just being F-Zero 99, or if there is still some hope for F-Zero GX to make it over. I certainly hope it does make it one day, but again, no telling for sure with Nintendo until we see it. Or this could be something in the Star Fox universe, because I would very much love to see a port or remaster of Star Fox Adventures, or even Assault. Anything from Star Fox would be a win for me, because it's just been so long since we've seen any kind of real effort with this franchise that is a beloved Nintendo one. And yeah, it doesn't have the sales numbers of a Mario or Zelda or Animal Crossing clearly, but it still has its fan base, and there's a select number of fans that will just go pick up anything Star Fox if it does release with new content, and I would love to see that. Even if it's a port or remaster to start off, then we test the waters with something bigger. And then in terms of the 3DS game, well, Metroid Samus Returns, I like the idea of that potentially coming over. As I mentioned, that was a late life 3DS game, and we've seen Nintendo port a number of 3DS games. So I think that's a fun one for the conversation. You could also talk about Zelda A Link Between Worlds making it over, because that's another one that if you do a simple upres HD and kind of do some retooling of the controls from the touchscreen to a basic controller, like, you're gonna have a good time with that game. It's a love letter to A Link to the Past, but has a fresh story and fresh content all throughout, and a really cool mechanic with Link being able to go onto the wall to solve certain puzzles and traverse certain areas of the game. I really enjoyed it personally, and I would love to see that make it over as well. Or of course, we have the outstanding tease from Mr. Sakurai that Kid Icarus Uprising could potentially be making it to Switch, and he would love to see someone port it. He seems to have very directly teased that multiple times, so I wouldn't be surprised if the 3DS game could indeed be a Kid Icarus Uprising as well. So lots of exciting possibilities as we march forward closer and closer to this summertime games blowout from all the different companies. Let me know in the comments down below which, if any, of these games or projects you are most excited to ultimately see revealed, and what do you think the GameCube and or 3DS game that PH Brazil is referencing could indeed be, and what is the big show closer Nintendo Direct game that you would love to see at this upcoming June presentation to kind of put 2024 over the top for you personally. So thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. Make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.